Hello and welcome to the Tottenham America channel. Today we will be handing out our awards for the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar. Basically, we have a list of topics that we'll be going through and we'll be nominating our choices for the players or teams that should win that selection or category. So we're going to start off with a big one. Who was the best player or players at the World Cup?
The best player for me was no one else but Lionel Messi.
Yeah, mine was easily Leo Messi, but I mean, he's got 7 goals. He got, I think, 4 assists at the World Cup. He was probably the most standout player here. He's basically cemented his legacy as GOAT, but we'll get onto that discussion a little later. But I think a couple players that'll be up there as well. Kylian Mbappe, who won the Golden Boot off of Messi with 8 goals. He had a fantastic tournament. He was firing on all cylinders for France. Griezmann was really good across the midfield and attack, especially into the knockout rounds. He was excelling for France, in my opinion.
Yeah. Mbappe got a hat-trick in this final. I believe that's the first time since in the 1960s. So it's been a long time since a player has got a hat-trick in a final. And remember, he's still 23 years old, and he's already close to being one of the top goal scorers in the World Cup, almost close to being the best, the most goals in the World Cup. He's
actually not very far away from being the top goal scorer in France's history, which is crazy. He is going to be one to watch. He's going to be one of the best of the next generation, and I think he's going to win the World Cup again and again. He's so good.
Yeah, he's so good. He's just going to be in again and again.
Yeah.
He's got, 4 more World Cups? Next World Cup, France and Mbappe are going to be a huge contender to win it.
Yeah.
But as you said, Griezmann, he got 3 assists, which he was tied to be, I believe, Messi, Bruno Fernandes.
Yep.
He's also tied with Harry Kane.
So he's among some good company.
So, yeah, Antoine Griezmann, one of the most underrated players this World Cup.
The next topic would be best young player. So I think one easy candidate for that is the winner of the Young Player Award at the World Cup, Enzo Fernandez, who was absolutely ridiculous for Argentina, benefiting really off of the absence of Giovanni Lo Celso, who's really a big starter for them. He only got 1 goal and 1 assist, but he was really integral going into their Netherlands and Croatia games and provided a masterclass in the final as well.
Yeah, another contender is Jude Bellingham. Did go out with England in the quarters, but did manage to score a goal on their opening game against Iran as they won 6-2. Yeah. Bellingham scored a lovely header. Also, one of their most influential players this World Cup. Really good in that midfield. He had a brilliant performance in the round of 16 against Senegal.
Yeah. Another player to have a shout, Vinicius Jr. I know Brazil went out kind of early, but he had some good performances in the group stage, and he's only 22. But one player I was really impressed with, and the closest to Enzo, I think, is Josko Gvardiol. That guy's only 20 years old, and he is an absolute beast at center back. His team, Croatia, finished in 3rd place, just above Morocco. They had an excellent run out at the tournament, and Gvardiol was integral in their defense.
Also got a goal with the lovely diving header in the 3rd place match. Another contender for young player, Julian Alvarez, who just makes it into that young category at 22 years of age. 4 goals from him this World Cup, which is brilliant. This season, Pep Guardiola has kind of taken him under his wing, and this has kind of been his first season starting for Manchester City and getting more game time, and he's shown his capabilities, he's shown his class, and now he's shown it even more in this World Cup.
Yeah. One last player I want to mention, the Dutch side. They went really well, I think, in the knockout stage, despite being knocked out by Argentina. But Jurrien Timber of Ajax, he's only 21, and he was very, very important at center back for Netherlands. So that's even another player that can be added in that category. But that's it for our best young players. Let's continue now to best goalkeepers of the tournament. Of course, Emi Martinez, Argentina's savior in so many penalty shootouts this World Cup.
Yeah, 2 more contenders probably, Livakovic and Bunu.
Yep.
Easily the best.
Very good.
Both of them heroes in penalty shootouts, especially Livakovic. Livakovic Helped Croatia get onto the semis, especially made one crucial save in their penalty shootout against Brazil in the quarters.
And how could we forget about Andreas Noppert, the guy who came out of absolutely nowhere for the Dutch national team, provided some great performances.
Yeah.
And if you look at his story, he has
I believe about like a year ago, he was about to retire from football and become a police officer.
Yep.
But now, look at him playing for in the World Cup for Netherlands. And I know no one cares about FIFA ratings, but he is a 69 FIFA rating.
Which kind of gives you an idea of where he was before the tournament. But that's it for best goalkeepers. Let's continue to best teams of the World Cup. Kind of the ones that we were most impressed by. Argentina, shock, of course. Morocco.
They're the dark horse,
yeah,
which we'll get onto later. They're the dark horse this tournament.
France were ridiculous. So kind of really all the semifinal teams. France, Morocco, Argentina, and Croatia. Those four were really, I think, the top
Croatia
tier.
deserve a lot of credit for this World Cup.
Yeah, undoubtedly. 2018,
I feel like Modric was carrying a lot. This World Cup, they have a lot of other great players. They have experienced players like Modric, Perisic, and they have youth too. Vardiol, other players too. And they just have a lot of variety in their squad.
Undoubtedly.
They work really well together.
Let's continue to dark horses, and I think this one's kind of easy to pick out. Morocco.
Everyone thought it was going to be Denmark after their stellar performance in the Euro 2020, but it was Morocco who were the dark horses and finished fourth in this World Cup.
Yeah, Denmark disappointed.
Denmark were a huge disappointed. Went out bottom of their group. Yeah, behind France, Australia, and Tunisia.
And I guess Croatia to an extent. I mean, can't really say they were a surprise dark horse. They were finalists last time out, but they still went really far in the World Cup.
Yeah.
Japan nearly went there. If they only just lost to Croatia on penalties.
South Korea also surprised me.
South Korea.
They made it past Uruguay into the round of 16.
That was a big one, yeah. So that's definitely one of the surprise packages. Not so much a dark horse, but something that really surprised us. Continuing to the other side of the spectrum, the worst team at the World Cup, or worst teams at the World Cup, Qatar. Has to be up there.
Excluding Qatar, I have to say Denmark.
Denmark and Wales.
Denmark and Wales were disappointed.
Pretty bad, yeah. Even like Costa Rica were, they provided some moments of excellence.
Costa Rica, they won against Japan. They had passion. They were a contender to get out of their group. At one time, it was Japan and Costa Rica who were getting out of their group, and Spain and Germany were getting eliminated.
Even Canada, they got no points. But I feel like they put up more of a fight than Denmark did in some of their games. I feel like Canada were a little more exciting to watch.
Yeah.
They haven't been in the World Cup for 30-something years. I just feel like they had a little more want than
They had
Denmark.
quite a stalemate performance against Belgium and against Morocco. But against Croatia, despite them losing 4-1, Alphonso Davies scored for Canada. And they put out not a bad performance.
Yeah, not at all.
They took the lead within really early in the match.
So I think our main contenders here are Qatar, Wales, Denmark are those top three. And
Canada probably falls in fourth, but a little bit behind the top three.
Spain were a disappointment.
Disappointment. I wouldn't say worst team, but disappointment.
We'll go on to that next, actually. So the biggest disappointment of the World Cup. Now this is like for big teams. Germany, Denmark, Uruguay. Those are the biggest. Germany, Uruguay, Denmark all fell out in the group stage. Those were the biggest, and then Spain
to Morocco,
fell out.
round of 16.
And
Portugal too. Portugal failed to get past Morocco. I mean, they had an amazing round of 16 performance.
Yeah.
Gonçalo Ramos getting a hat-trick, bagging a hat-trick in his first knockout World Cup game, and Ronaldo has played how many? A bajillion.
20-something, 30-something.
And he's not scored at all.
Yeah.
And Gonçalo Ramos has played one game, and he's gotten a hat-trick.
Another team, Brazil. I mean, they got to the quarters, but I expected them to do a lot better. They had so much riding on their shoulders.
I was expecting a Brazil-Argentina semifinal.
Yeah. Instead, Croatia showed us who they were. That's kind of why I feel like they were kind of underdogs, because from their kind of section of the bracket, they were not supposed to get through to the semis. You know, Brazil were supposed to crush them. But Croatia did the unthinkable, and they beat them, and they got third. Which I think kind of shines light on how Brazil have weaknesses, despite them being kind of a super team.
Yeah, when you shut down their their midfield, you know, they rely on individual flair. But if you shut down those individual players, like there's Croatia no creativity. There's nothing for Brazil.
Let's continue to the biggest upset in terms of results. So I think the first biggest one is obvious. It's Saudi Arabia winning against Argentina. That was kind of crazy.
Costa Rica winning 1-0 against Japan.
And after Japan's start.
Japan winning against Spain and Germany.
That was
Both
crazy.
of them coming from behind to win 2-1.
Yeah. Morocco with their, I believe it was a win over, well, they won against Belgium, they won against Spain, they won against Portugal. Those were some crazy upsets.
Even Croatia, Brazil.
Yeah, Croatia, Brazil. But I think, of course, topping the list is Saudi Arabia, Argentina.
Yeah,
Nothing tops
that's how the tournament started. Those were the headlines. Where is Messi?
All right, speaking of Messi, with this World Cup, is Messi the GOAT?
For me, Messi is partially the GOAT. I think he's tied in that first spot ahead of CR7, ahead of Pele. And I would say he's tied in that first spot
with Maradona.
in being the GOAT.
But he is up there with his Argentinian.
I'm gonna say if he wins the Champions League with PSG, that's gonna put him ahead of Maradona for me.
I think that could, yeah. But it depends on if they are able to win the Champions League.
But this settles the debate. He's better than Ronaldo.
Yeah, I think that this really settles it. I think he is better than Ronaldo. This World Cup really proved it. He popped up with 7 goals and 4 assists, and Ronaldo got like 1 from the penalty spot, or 2, I forget.
But he got one goal from the penalty shot and 1 goal that he claimed.
Oh no, but that was Bruno.
That was awarded to Bruno Fernandes.
All right, and last to finish up the video, let's look ahead to the next World Cup. Who's gonna be the stars at the next World Cup, which will be right here in the U.S., Canada, and Mexico in 2026 during the summer? Who's gonna be the biggest players?
I think it's gonna be Kylian Mbappe and France once again. 2018 World Cup winners. 2022 this World Cup finalists. Next World Cup in 2026. You don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. They're in superb form. They have Kylian Mbappe. He's firing for them.
I would say Brazil, but I just feel like their defense is aging slightly. They've got a 38-year-old Thiago Silva, and he's probably still the best member of their world.
And Marquinhos is also very old, too.
Marquinhos 29. He's not that old. But
not
he'll be
old,
32.
but like next World Cup.
Yeah.
He's going to be like 33.
Yeah, so none of their other defenders really wow me. I mean, Dani Alves is 39 already. And Gleison Bremer is really their only other big center back. So that's the only part that really worries me for Brazil in terms of their look ahead to the next World Cup.
Japan.
England, I think, will be more solidified. Japan. England will look ahead with Jude Bellingham, Phil Foden.
Kane has another World Cup to go.
Another World Cup under his belt, definitely. It's coming up. Declan Rice, I think, he's only 23. So I think there's a good number of players that'll be big. Bukayo Saka, how could we forget about him? Rashford. Who else? Spain, Gavi, Pedri.
Yeah, they just need some time to develop. They've always flopped in the World Cup after.
It just comes at the wrong time.
Yeah. 2014 getting eliminated in group stage, losing on PKs in 2018 against Russia in the round of 16, and yet again losing on PKs in the round of 16 this World Cup against Morocco.
I mean, Argentina are going to be a shout again because Dibu Martinez is still going to be in goal. Christian Romero is going to be there.
Julian Alvarez is still going to be firing up front. And
Lautaro
Martinez will almost 99% he'll be in better form that World Cup.
I think Messi might have said he's not going to play, but you never know. There's a chance Messi could play.
39.
He'll be 39.
You'll be under 40.
But he could still play at that next World Cup. DePaul's going to be there. Leandro Paredes.
Of course, you got the youngster Enzo Fernandez.
He's gonna be there.
Gio Lo Celso hopefully will be back.
Yeah, he's missed two World Cups now. Well, he was at the 2018 one, but didn't play. Then he missed this one on injury, but he did join them with them at the final celebrations. He was in the locker room and celebrated the trophy with the Argentina.
He was also a key player for them in the 2021 Copa America
and the qualification to get here. He was probably one of their big... That's what Argentina's big worry was finding a replacement for Lo Celso in that midfield. And that's why they flopped against Saudi Arabia. And they're very lucky to have found Enzo and McAllister.
McAllister was the big replacement.
Yeah.
Enzo had some really big defensive duties that he pulled off.
But
McAllister
was
a really creative guy, driving forward, box-to-box midfielder.
Undoubtedly. He did really well. But that's it for our awards for the 2022 FIFA World Cup. If you enjoyed and want to see more post-World Cup content, make sure you like and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more Tottenham content as well. Tottenham return to action on the 26th of December, one day after Christmas. And until next time.
Come on, you Spurs!